hey, I'm glad you're here. Are you having a fun fall? Because we sure are, and that's exactly what this episode is all about. At the time of this recording, we were at the midpoint of October, and we're on schedule for our 31 horror movies in 31 days. Now, honestly, in previous years I've ended up around 45 or 50, but life's been lifing, so that's where we're at with this. Please write us a review if you can, wherever you listen. It's greatly appreciated, as are any messages of support on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I'd love to know what you're watching also, any favorites, anything you've come across that you've recently seen and loved. And sincerely, just thanks for listening. Let's just get right to it. The film is so many films, the guest is an incredibly talented person, and this is VHS Presents New Releases and Late Returns, a bonus episode. Hello, and welcome to another bonus episode of VHS. I'm your host, Dirk Marshall, and we're halfway into October, so I wanted to check in with my wife and soon-to-be co-host Sarah Marshall, so thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and we decided that we were going to recap what we've been watching this month, and then answer some listener questions that we have submitted here. So let's just get right into it with the legendary check-in. How are you?
That's your check-in?
Yeah, I get you with it every time.
I'm good, Dirk. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Your turn now.
To ask you how you are?
Uh-huh.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing very well. I'm loving October. I feel like the leaves on the trees just turned. They're just yellow and cascading down in the backyard, and that to me feels like fall when I want to dive into all these Halloween films.
Well, I mean, we started getting ready for fall like 2 months ago.
Absolutely.
The first day, there was a slight chill in the air, and we brought out our Halloween decorations. Inside only. We have this rule.
Yeah. We
can't let anybody see that we're decorating so early.
Yeah. It was August, I think, and I was like, we just gotta get some of the stuff out. And so the little spooky village came out. Yeah. I think that was first, and I was ready for it. I was done with summer, and I wanted fall.
Yeah, today I was driving through doing some sauce deliveries, and I was driving into Hillsboro, and, you drive through all this farmland and stuff like that, and everything was changing, and I saw all these beautiful trees, and I kept thinking, I wonder if I should pull over and take a picture, but I sure didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, even when we were at Savi's Island, the farmer's market, they had the pumpkin patch out, and they had the maze set up, but it was still not quite fall yet. Yeah. It still felt like the edge of summer almost.
Yeah, I feel like I just can't capture the feelings enough on film. Mm-hmm. I'll see people, I don't even know, post their Halloween doorstep, and it's perfectly manicured with their pumpkins, and then they'll post a picture of some trees, and I feel like whenever I do it, or like our porch, it's like we never actually spread out the spider webs in the package. We just hung the spider webs in one long chain.
There's a beard on our door is basically what happened.
Like a beard. I just can't fully document it, but I feel it. I feel it all happening. It feels good. It's just not perfect.
Right. I think that's just our style. That's how we are. It's more casual. I like it. Yeah. It's less stressful. Yeah. It would be too hard for us to, just like a picture of someone's kid at the pumpkin patch is going to be very much different vibe than our daughter at the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I mean, I've tried. I've been to the pumpkin patch 100 times. There are 0 photos of it because every time I try, it's like freaky. We're all chaos. Muddy. Yeah. It's like, she's got 2 different socks on. Like, I don't know. It's just like normal stuff, but it's like there must be a lot of planning that goes into that kind of thing. Yeah. I just don't have the skill set for.
No, I'm with you on that. But here we are. We're halfway into October. It's happening so fast.
We are into it, and I am loving it.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I feel like it's just too fast. I want to slow it down a little bit. I love this October, November, December part of the year. You and our daughter both have birthdays in November, so that seems like a great month. October's obviously October, and then December, it's holiday time. I love it. But we're not here to talk about Christmas. We're here to talk about...
No, not yet.
October.
Yes. Let's get into it.
All right. The first film that we'll be talking about today is Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge from 1989, directed by Richard Friedman. He also did Scared Stiff and Doom Asylum, which aren't my favorite films, but I really enjoy Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge.
Well, yeah, I hadn't seen it before.
Of course, yes.
So it was the first time watch for me, and this fit into your Freaky Friday?
Yeah, so Friday, the different themed days, we kept Friday either WTF Friday or Freaky Friday. Not Freaky Friday like body swap movies, but more like, well, this is weird, doesn't really fall into a specific thing. You know, it's not really a slasher movie per se.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Just fun and freaky.
Fun and freaky.
And that's what this was.
Yep. Yeah.
I liked it, and there was a couple things I felt like, and you always seem to know more about this, but maybe they changed parts of the ending or something happened along the way, but it felt like maybe they were going for like a Phantom of the Opera underneath the mall kind of movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't quite explained so well why there was this hidden part of his old home underneath the mall. That part didn't quite it didn't win me over.
Yeah. It's the story, it's not giving anything away because they tell you in the title it's Eric's revenge.
Yeah, it's definitely Eric. Hey, everybody, guess what? It's Eric.
Eric's doing it. He's the Phantom. Yeah, so these people wanted to build a mall where a family lived, and then they burned the house down.
Killed the family.
Maybe Eric, who knows?
But hey, guess what?
Oh,
Eric.
gosh, it is Eric.
Should have gone with a different title.
Totally. And I listened to a podcast where the guy that was originally the writer for this was very angry about all the things that they changed because it was Phantom the Mall. It was the 80s. Malls are cool. And this was going to be a great thing. And the guy that's played by Pauly Shore was the cool hero and just made some choices and changes with the script. And it's different. For sure. But I thoroughly enjoyed the vibes. I thought it was a lot of fun, for sure. Yeah. I loved that Pauly Shore was in it. I mean, of course, I go into these movies knowing nothing, and so then all of a sudden someone pops on, in this case, Pauly Shore, and I was like, oh, cute, Pauly Shore. Yeah, it's before he's got the weasel thing down, so he's very much an actor in this.
I like it.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's really good. That's Phantom of the Mall. Oh, I'm sorry, here's the synopsis for the film.
Oh.
A guy called Eric owns a huge house and some greedy people want to build a mall over it, so they get someone to burn down his house. Eric is badly burned, but not dead, and a year later, the mall opens. What they don't realize is that Eric is living underneath the mall, and he's very angry.
Oh, so angry.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for one twist that didn't happen, and that was that there was this character that was the mayor of the town.
Yes.
Who's the actress there? Someone super famous. So I should know.
I'm going to blank on it now, yeah.
Anyways, she was this really main character, it seemed like, throughout the thing, and I thought she was going to be behind it all, because she's in almost every scene, and everyone talks about how wonderful she is, and how beautiful she is, and that all the girls want to be her, and she's, like, redeveloping the town, and then nothing ever happens with that. That's just her. That's just the character that they wrote. And that rarely happens in especially like a horror movie. If someone is put on this pedestal, they're definitely messed up.
Right.
And it didn't take that twist there, which I was very surprised by.
Yeah, it is odd. I will say there's some good kills in the movie, and you couldn't really see much of it in our version, but Arrow, I believe, is putting out the Blu-ray in November. I believe so.
Oh yeah, so some of the kills we couldn't see because of the film quality.
Yes,
but we'll be able to see this. So we'll be watching this again, I'm guessing.
It's coming back. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm into it.
To quote the Muppets moving right along, "Edge of the Axe."
Good Muppet quote, my friend.
My good segue. Okay. Edge of the Axe from 1988 from director Jose Ramon Larraz, I believe, who did The Deadly Manor, Rest in Pieces, and Stigma. The premise is, or the synopsis, an axe murderer terrorizes a small Northern California mountain community while two young computer-obsessed adults attempt to solve the killings.
And this was a slasher day?
Yep.
Right. I have no memory of watching this movie. Did I watch it?
Yeah, you were there. He has a white mask. The first murder happens it's my favorite part of the movie, really, in a car wash. She's going through in her car, and the killer has the axe, and he just appears in. It's got cool lighting and suds. No, nothing.
Nothing.
Not at all. And then mostly it's this guy and this girl on these huge old computers communicating.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
I do remember it now.
Yeah.
Not that great
Not
for
a
me.
Favorite. Yeah. So what people don't know is I tend to load the beginning of October with some of the movies that I don't know if you're necessarily going to love.
Okay.
So that it gets progressively better.
Yeah.
Not as bad as I think last year is when I really had it, and there was some movies in the beginning of October that you were like, why is this even on? So of the slashers, this is the one that I thought, well, it might not go your way. I think it has some really interesting stuff in it, but it's not a wall-to-wall crazy...
So this is the one where there's a man and a woman, and they're communicating through their computers from separate places,
right.
And it really reminded me of what it was like in the 90s to meet somebody on what was then the internet, or you would have these chat rooms and stuff, and you would know nothing about them, and you would talk back and forth. But then there was always this mystery person, and then I just wasn't that interested.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I lived it already.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. It's a quirky slasher. I think it's underseen. Interesting.
Are slasher films like a good category for you? Like, are you into them? Do you seek them out normally? When you don't have a slasher day on the holiday sketch, do you seek it out?
No, not in October. But I've seen so many. There are so many, too, so that in October I can be like, well, I have seen Edge of the Axe, but not this version. Just a mushy version, which is very hard to see.
So this was redone.
Yeah, so I really wanted to see what the difference was.
Was the car wash scene better?
It was so much better.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You can see what was happening, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's Edge of the Axe. So we'll just keep it trucking up to Nadja from 1994, directed by Michael Almereyda, who did Experimenter and Tesla. It was described as this ultra-hip postmodern vampire tale is set in contemporary New York City. Members of a dysfunctional family of vampires are trying to come to terms with each other in the wake of their father's death. Meanwhile, they're being hunted by Dr. Van Helsing and his hapless nephew.
Well, I can't believe I didn't know this movie existed.
Same.
Because it is the best vampire movie of them all, I feel like. I loved it. I feel like I've lived it. It was very 90s city vampire.
It's so 1994.
If I had known this movie existed, I would have had the posters on my wall.
Yeah.
I would have had somebody make me the cloak that she wears. I love it. I love it.
For anyone that doesn't know what Nadja is, which is probably most of us, it's a black and white film presented by David Lynch, starring Peter Fonda, Alina Lowensohn, who I did not know who she was, but she's in Schindler's List, a very long engagement, and 106 other credits. So she's been in a ton of things. But man, I would have watched everything had I seen Nadja in 1994. I mean, there's Portishead on the soundtrack. Yeah. I mean...
And I've since been listening to a lot of Portishead.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Fun.
Yeah. If someone had told me your favorite October film that you will see is a black and white vampire movie from 1994, I would be like, that's insane. But no, there it is. You even get a cameo from David Lynch, which is wonderful.
Yeah, always great. I loved the styling of it. I mean, it's the kind of movie I like to watch at that time.
Yep.
I really don't know how either one of us had missed it, but then I started messaging all of like my 90s goth friends and was like, hey, have you heard of this movie? No one has heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have everyone watching it. I'm sure they're going to be very excited.
Yeah. And it's one of the things, it starts and it's got that sort of, it's black and white. It's got some kind of like digital stuff going on, like digital noise and image of something. And I thought for a second, I was like, because it's 2021, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the right headset for this. And about a minute or two into it, it just completely clicked. And I was like, oh, this is one of my favorite things.
Yeah. It's so good. I love it. Everyone watch it.
Yeah.
If you're going to watch any of these movies, this has to be the one. No, it has to be the one. That's it.
Well, let's see what else we got. Next is Slugs, directed by Juan Paquir Simon, who did Satan's Blood, Cthulhu Mansion, The Rift, and Pieces, which was one of my favorites. The description is killer slugs on the rampage in a rural community. That is everything that happens. There's, I think, nuclear waste or something going on. Some kind of toxic something. There's a lot of water planning. I'm not sure what all is happening in this film.
Yeah, the city messed everything up. There's some toxic sludge underneath. The slugs get in there first. They start to kill everybody.
Yes. A great movie to eat a salad while watching.
Oh man, such a barf fest. That salad. I have questioned every salad I've eaten since.
It really ruins it.
There's this terribly beautiful scene where this woman decides to make a salad for dinner.
Yep.
which is a little weird. She's like, oh, we're just going to have salad. Oh, I think because she accidentally got drunk on the couch. She woke up and forgot to make dinner. That's what it was. And so like she makes a salad and she's slicing through what is supposed to be, I think, olives, or later she says anchovies. It's
like a head of lettuce that a slug is in the middle of it.
Yeah, but the slugs are in the lettuce. So she slices them up, and so you just see these ringlets of slug moving in the salad. Yeah. It's so gross. Like, really, it's been so hard for me to have salad since we watched that movie. Yeah. And then also, because of the time of year, all of the slugs and snails in our yard have come out only since we started watching that.
Yeah, it's true.
And now I'm so terrified. When I see this tiny little slug or snail, I'm like, it's gonna eat my face.
Yeah. Well, they have teeth in the movie.
Yeah, they do.
It is wild. I won't give away what happens to the man that eats the slug salad, but it's not great.
But it is great.
It's really great.
That was the thing about it. All the slug kills, they were really good.
It's a movie that shouldn't be good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very good. 2 slugs up. Moving right along. We have Mirror Mirror from 1990 with director Marin Sargenti, who also did Xena the Princess Warrior, some television. Synopsis is a teenage girl begins receiving black magic power through an antique mirror that drips blood, not realizing the mirror is controlled by demonic forces. It stars Rainbow Harvest, Karen Black, and Yvonne DiCarlo, a.k.a. Lily Munster. Any thoughts on Mirror Mirror?
Yeah, this one was for Witchy Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm always a fan of Witchy Wednesday and witch movies, and I think that this movie kind of hit this great witchy chord for me because the main character reminds me a little bit of Winona Ryder in multiple roles. So she's got a little bit of Beetlejuice mixed in with a little bit of Heathers.
Yeah, Rainbow Harvest is the actress.
Yeah, she was great, I thought, and her outfits are the best.
Really good.
Her outfits, her hair, her makeup. Moving from LA to this small town and being a little bit freaky. It was all things that I could relate to, and I thought that it was really great. And I was, again, surprised I hadn't heard of it. I always feel like I've watched every witch movie that exists, but not this one.
Yeah, we just keep finding them. Rainbow Harvest outfits in this are amazing, and I would say if you're looking for a Halloween costume to impress cult film nerds, these would be great. Because people would be like, oh my gosh, are you dressed as the girl in Mirror Mirror? And you'd be like, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And then your partner could dress as the mirror. I don't know.
Yeah, so the mirror is good, freaky.
It's really good.
It is the evil, which is cool. You can kill all the witches, but the mirror still exists, which I thought was a good ending.
It's good.
I just blew it for everybody. But
well, there's a sequel that I'm still tracking down. So.
Oh, good. Can't wait to see them.
Yes.
More freaky blood mirror magic.
Which is a great segue into the next film, Body Melt from 1993, directed by Philip Brophy, who also directed a movie, it sounds grosser, called Salt, Saliva, Sperm, and Sweat.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad they then went something tamer called Body Melt. Residents of a peaceful Pebbles Court, Holmesville, are being used unknowingly as test experiments for a new body drug that causes rapid body decomposition, melting skin, etc., and painful death. That is Body Melt.
Yeah, it was good. Interesting time to watch it with vaccine happening, because I feel like some people think this is real.
Right.
And, it's not, but I thought that it's a good horror film. It's good when they're like, oh yeah, we're going to do this thing and it's going to be really good for your body. And then, oh, oops, it's not.
Yeah. Oh, your body melting.
Your body's actually melting.
Yeah, it also has a great electronic soundtrack. So there was parts where the beats would kick in and you were just like, oh yeah. Get it.
I just start jamming.
Yep,
I'm like,
jam
yeah. Mm-hmm. I got to do my dance church moves.
Yes.
And that was another Freaky Friday.
Body Melt is definitely a Freaky Friday.
Yeah, because it's freaky.
It is, yes. It looks really great. The transfer on the Blu-ray is gorgeous.
Everyone's skin is very shiny.
Very shiny. All the colors are super bright. It's good. I highly recommend it. Here's another one of our No Sunday, which is vampire films. Subspecies from 1991, directed by Ted Nicolau, who also did Terror Vision, which is one of our favorites, and all the sequels for Subspecies. For that, we've got 3 students get caught in the struggle between a good vampire and his evil brother in the Transylvanian mountains.
Well, this is a storyline that hits hard with the ladies Always.
Yeah.
So if you read vampire books, or let's say you go the route of Twilight books, there's always this character that's like, there's a good vampire and there's a bad vampire, or a good werewolf and a bad werewolf, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's this kind of evil force, but it sort of attributes to the bad boy that somebody falls in love with, and they're worth turning into a vampire for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's this storyline that always people are drawn to. This is similar, and I thought it was really great.
Yes.
It's fun.
Yes.
Good vampire.
Yeah, Radu is great.
Yep.
In the opening scene, he's captured when he's trying to get the bloodstone from his father, and he breaks his fingers off and drops them on the ground.
Yeah.
And they squirt blood for a little bit, and then they turn into tiny little demons.
Yeah, so sometimes I have a hard time getting started with these
Yeah.
movies. Like, I'm like,
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm that interested. This is an old vampire movie from the 70s. I'm already bored. But as soon as he snapped his finger off and it turned into a tiny little devil monster creature, I was like, no, okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah. I know, with the castles and stuff, you're kind of like, I'm not into this.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I was like, I think we got you for a little bit at least. It's a full moon movie. I saw it back in the day. I've only seen, I think, 3 of the 5. I want the box set, is what I want, of the Blu-rays, but I haven't picked it up yet. But I was very excited that you said, I feel like we're going to watch all of these. So
yeah,
that's a good sign.
I'm down. Let's do it.
That brings us to Primal Rage from 1988. This is Vittorio Rimbaldi. He also did Decoy and makeup on Nightmare Beach. A baboon escapes from a Florida campus lab and starts spreading something bad with a bite. That's what happens in Primal Rage. For me, this film is very fun because I love the fashion and everything that's... The whole aesthetic of it is really great. What happens story-wise, I'm not that crazy about. I really don't like the 3 kind of rapey guys.
Yeah. Terrible to watch.
But they don't actually assault. We don't have to watch a rape, basically. But it gets close. But it's a short scene. I'm just saying for anyone that's not wanting to watch that. If I knew that it was in there, would I have watched this movie? No. Then I would have missed out on when this movie gets amazing, which is the Halloween party.
Yes. I would say, can we just watch the Halloween party?
I mean,
the rest of the movie is no. I mean, it leads up to that. It's like saying these guys on this campus exist and everyone knows they are, and she kills them. It's great.
Yes.
That's not what always happens.
Right,
so it's like I could get rid of the whole beginning of the movie and just watch the Halloween party and be in the Halloween party. The costumes are awesome.
They're so good.
They're so good. I want to be at that Halloween party.
There's a guy that has 2 faces that have the noses of spigots from sinks. It's very elaborate, these costumes.
Who made those costumes?
I don't know.
They're so good.
They did not phone it in when it came to this like amazing Halloween party sequence. So definitely at least check out Primal Rage the last 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, easy to do.
Yeah. Which brings us to Mimic from 1997, directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Mira Sorvino. 3 years ago, entomologist Dr. Susan Tyler genetically created an insect to kill cockroaches carrying a virulent disease. Now the insects are out to destroy their only predator, mankind. This was another one, we're watching it now, and it starts off and it's like, all the kids are dying. How are we going to stop this insane disease? And I was like, gosh, like, could we not have this happen?
And then the scientists are like, we can do it. We think we can do it. Oh, did we do something wrong?
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they did.
They did! They
really
did something wrong! It's a weird time to watch movies like that. I always love horror movies. I love watching horror movies with you. I love that directors are so good at finding something that really freaks people out.
Yeah.
And then they just make it even freakier. And so even though some of this stuff that we're watching is playing into themes of our life now, it always is, you know?
Yeah.
And especially, like, if you're freaked out by bugs, this is a scary movie for you to watch. So it's good. Like, they created something really powerful. And I think that I liked whoever built all these bug creature things, costuming. I don't even know. Are they costumes? I'm not sure. Are they robots? They're good and creepy.
This is the great thing about Mimic. So it's 1997. I saw it in the theater one time, and I was like, it's too dark. I can't see what's happening. The Blu-ray is it's the same. It's shot very much like you don't show the shark in Jaws until way later. You know, it's that type of creature feature kind of thing. So he really stretches it to the point where I was like, we're not going to see anything. This is boring. And then when we get into really, there's a train car sequence, and that's really where it's just full body insect people and stuff. And that's amazing. I can't tell what's CG, what's a puppet, what's... I mean, the effects
and that's what I love.
hold up
I love
really
when stuff
well.
Is like that.
It's really good. And there's parts where they can only smell us if we don't rub their own organs on us. And so people just covering themselves in goo, and it's really great.
Gross.
It's also really dark subject matter-wise. I mean, it starts off with a ton of kid death. Then kids get eaten. Kid watches his dad get killed. But none of it's, gory graphic, which I would love to see the effects from that company doing gore, because those insects look amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just not that type of film. If you're going into it expecting gore, it's not there, but it's just really creative. It's well executed. It's Guillermo del Toro. Which brings us to something a little different. Simply Irresistible, directed by Mark Tarloff from 1999, who also directed Temptation 2004, starring Zoe Saldana. The synopsis... Okay, get ready, people. If you're listening to this podcast, just stop what you're doing, set down your knitting needles... It's my main demographic. Listen to the synopsis for this film. A magical crab works wonders for a terrible chef's culinary skills, leading her towards the man of her dreams. One more time in case you missed the first part. A magical crab. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Patrick Flannery. This is a real movie.
The crab is magical.
It's a movie with a magical crab.
And he's in it a lot.
A lot.
Or she. I don't know.
They don't show the under part where there's a plate, I think.
There is a plate. Yeah, you don't see it, but I think it seemed like a he.
Because when he appears in non-crab form, I'm assuming that's the same spirit. The guy that sells her the crabs.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right?
You think that was him. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, maybe I'll get into the fanfic of Simply Irresistible, but I think he's the crab.
I think so.
I think they're one and the same.
He's like a witch.
And I will forget that there's a magical crab in this movie. And then just at the right points, the movie's like, cut to magic crab.
They're like, oh, hey, here!
And he's like under a leaf of lettuce or just on a shelf.
And he like waves his little crab claw.
It's so amazing.
I love it.
It's like a Hallmark movie, right? Because it's low stakes.
Well, yeah, this will definitely be I am absolutely positive, the lightest of the Halloween
for sure.
that we will watch probably ever.
Yeah.
I think the only thing really that makes it fit into the category is it's in Witchy Wednesday.
Yeah.
So she's definitely a magical witch.
She doesn't know it yet.
The crab, right?
I think her mother was, a witch.
Some kind of food
and
witch.
And she has the food witch within her, but the magical crab unlocks it.
Yeah, I loved it. It's a lot of fun. It's
great.
Kind of like this Fred Astaire,
sure,
Water for Chocolate, with a little bit of practical magic.
Yeah.
Right? All combined.
Yeah, but there's no murder.
No murder.
There's
really
no ill will towards anybody.
But I mean, right away I was hooked because there's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
She's shopping at a farmer's market for her restaurant, and I was like, why don't I know about this movie?
Yeah.
I was taking pictures of her shopping at the farmer's market to tag all my farmer's market friends.
And I'm such a farmer's market nerd that I was like, she's buying fresh berries by the pound. Don't you just buy them by the...
I know. You're like, inaccurate.
And then the magic of crab appeared, and I was like, what's accuracy?
No. We didn't need it. We forgot all about her wrong weight buying.
Completely gone.
Super fun. But here's the thing about some of these movies. And it happened in Mirror Mirror. It happened in this one. So these women, these wonderful, awesome women, fall in love with these dudes who are not that great, right?
Yes.
He's supposed to be this heartthrob, I guess, but he's like a hotel manager, afraid of commitment. It's the same character in all of those Hallmark movies, too. And these women are pining after them, sort of. And I'm like, why? There's somebody so much better.
It's almost like an anti-Hallmark or Lifetime movie in that she's not successful and he is. And in a lot of those, I feel like she is successful, but she comes to the small town and meets the dumb guy that chops wood or whatever, and then she learns to slow down and relax.
Oh, but he's always like a retired lawyer. I mean, he made that choice to run the inn or whatever.
Right.
And this is sort of like that, where it's like he runs this hotel or runs this restaurant in a hotel.
Yeah, so if you're looking for like a fun, somewhat witchy, very much magical crab movie, then I think Simply Irresistible is the perfect film for you.
I think so too. I can't believe I didn't know it exists. I follow Sarah Michelle Gellar on Instagram. Yes. She never mentions it. I never see talk of the crab.
We should ask Only Cats and Food, our buddy on Instagram, because she's friends with Sarah Michelle Gellar, if she can talk a little bit about, and maybe if I could get that magic crab, I would love to have it on a shelf.
I mean, no one's ever had a crab as a guest, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Next season, let's see if we can get Sarah Michelle Gellar as the magical crab.
She would be the crab?
I mean, I'm hoping. She's an actress, so...
But she's not the crab. Somebody else plays the crab.
But it doesn't talk in the movie. It could be her. Simply Irresistible 2.
That's good.
That did not sound like you believe me at all.
You lost me.
Right.
As her as the crab. I don't get it.
I just wanted to have her as a guest, and all right, fine. We'll just move on to something less enjoyable for some people. Halloween Kills from 2021, directed by David Gordon Green. This just came out on Peacock, I think, and so we watched it. It's the second of the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Thoughts?
I mean, I know you hated it. You can even just tell how you introduced it that you hated it. I mean, when you don't like something, it's very clear from the time you're even going to push play on the movie. So I went into it being like, for whatever reason, Dirk doesn't like this movie.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fine. It was fun. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is always great in whatever she does. She's a wonderful actress. She has this ability of like even as a character in a horror movie who's being chased and stalked her whole life, she still has this ability of you still want to be around her.
Sure.
She's like badass and she's kind and she's smart, and even though
she's a really good actress.
Yeah, she's so great. And so I choose to look at the good in things. So I saw that in this movie and was like, I don't know how old she is. I don't want to put a number on her, but whatever age she is. I was going to say maybe she's in her 60s, but maybe she's not. I don't know. Michael
Myers in the movie is 63, I think. So I don't know if she's older than that.
Yeah, I don't know, but she's great. I mean, she is a great character. She's great and a great actress, and I just really enjoyed her.
Yeah. Which is great. I wish she had more to do. She's mostly just in a hospital in the
film. She
sure
is. She got gutted. I mean, what else is she going to do?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, so my story with this is I get so weird about certain things, and I wish I could change it about myself, but I can't. And so somebody being like, okay, none of the sequels exist, but our movie is the sequel to the original Halloween, it sat weird with me. It's bizarre. This movie is like a pastiche of the fourth film, the sixth film, and then they have the masks from the third film.
Oh, I loved that part.
Which you loved, which was great, because I was just like, ugh, it's just so manipulative, and you're like, I like it. And I was like, gosh, I
like it because it's a clear memory from my youth. We had that movie on tape. Somebody gave it to us, which is weird.
I love it.
We didn't have a lot of movies. Someone recorded it. And so I watched it probably more than any other horror movie because it was the only one we owned.
Right.
So we would watch it every Halloween. We would watch it when we had friends over who wanted to watch a scary movie. And so because it had that scene, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is great. I think why it's probably in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my whole issue, is it doesn't feel authentic. I love Rob Zombie's Halloweens. He goes and he does his own thing, and you can like him or dislike him, but it's on his own accord. He's like, this is my version, my story, this is what I'm doing. I want all of those for everything. Everyone do their own version, do something new and exciting. But when you say, like, all these other people's efforts don't exist, and ours is now this thing, then it just sits weird with me. Like, all those people worked super hard on those movies, to tell these stories.
But a lot of people worked hard on this movie to create this one.
I agree. But I just think it's kind of a dick move to be like, your movies don't exist, but hey guys, remember your movies? Like, it just seems weird. But I will say, for like Anthony Michael Hall, it's got to feel amazing to be I don't know if there's a box office right now, but I think Halloween is number one right now.
Oh,
and
nice.
so for him to be in a number one film, not television, for Jamie Lee Curtis up on the big screen, for her doing these big talks and everything, the supporting cast in it is good. It's very odd, but it's just, I can't fault it for any of that stuff, but I will watch the third one because that's the other thing about even me being like, what's up with this movie? Did you like that impersonation of myself?
Yeah, that's you.
Okay, cool. I still support them. I still will rent the thing or do whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to watch everybody's thing. I'm never going to tell anyone, don't watch this thing at all. Like, because people absolutely love this film. I'm not here to try to take the joy away from other people.
I mean, in any movie, I like the spirit of Halloween. I like when they make something very scary. I like these iconic characters haunt things for years, and the story of the town all being haunted.
They're taking away the thing about Jamie Lee Curtis being his sister, because that's introduced, I think, in the second film, which I love. And so that's a little weird.
I was just confused, because I was like, wait, isn't she his sister?
Well, so now they're
they,
saying
talk about
no.
a different sister,
But then why does he want to kill her? I don't want to make this whole episode about that. It's very confusing when you get into these what ifs, which is a whole thing that exists these days. It's what's happening with entertainment, and you just have to go with it or be like a curmudgeon that's like, oh, what happened to my stories?
Yeah, quick curmudgeoning, Dirk.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just move on to something else.
Move on.
We're moving on to Escape Room Tournament of Champions, directed by Adam Bobitel. I'm probably saying the last name wrong. Bobitel? This one I watched by myself.
I was going to say, I think you put this on last night, and I quickly fell asleep, actually, before you put the movie on. So it has nothing to do with the movie. I was just really tired.
Which I will mention, we have been watching Midnight Mass on Netflix, which is a series. Everyone's talked about it to death already. We haven't finished it. We have an episode and a half left. And I put it on last night, and you promptly fell asleep. And so I turned it off so that...
Farmer's Market Day, man. I get up early.
Yeah, totally.
I can't handle.
I hear you. And then I watched Tournament of Champions. I think the escape room movies are fun. I wish maybe the casting was a little bit stronger, but I don't know about the budget for these things. But the premise of it is fun because it's just people that don't know they're not in reality. They're in an escape room, and it just gets crazier and wilder. And
when you say escape room, those places you go in the mall and... murder you have to solve or something and get out of a box.
You have to turn over a clock or something and it tells you to open a drawer. I don't know how it works exactly. I've never done one clearly where I'm turning clocks over. But in this, it's a whole office building or a train station. And it's so real that they're like, oh, what is happening? And then there's...
But the people wanted to be in this experience or no? They're like involuntarily in an escape
I feel
room.
like it's involuntary. It's kind of like the old thing of like you received an invitation to a haunted house party and you went to it.
Go.
Yeah, exactly. See, you would be so escape roomed in this situation.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then they're chosen for a reason, I think, or something. I'm not quite sure how it works. I don't pay attention to the logic, but it looks cool. It's creative. And I think they're PG-13, so it's like it's low stakes. You don't have crazy kills, but it's entertaining and fast-paced. And so I just wanted to recommend the Escape Room Tournament of Champions if someone's looking for something like that.
And which day of the week did that fit into?
It was a bonus.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so I didn't miss out. I never want to miss a no Sunday or a witchy Wednesday, so just making sure.
Oh my gosh, we have some good ones coming up
behind.
too. We're going to end this month strong, so our second recap will have some really good films.
I can't wait.
Yes. Which brings us to the end of the films and brings us to something brand new. It's questions that were submitted to us.
Oh, I didn't know we did that.
We just did now.
Cool.
This is brand new for you.
All right.
And me.
I'm into it.
All right. First up, we have Mary Chalman, who is a guest this season, and her Twitter is A Grave Woman. Her question is, what is your favorite movie theater snack? It's a really good question, and I'm going to be controversial in saying I don't like to eat in movie theaters.
Yeah, you don't. I was just going to say, I don't think I've ever seen you eat in a movie theater, but I mean, now we're in a new world, right? So it could be, for the last few years, people haven't even gone to a movie theater, so it could be your favorite snack to eat at home.
Yeah.
While you watch a movie.
I will say when I was invited to A Quiet Place 2, when someone had rented a theater, thank you, Nick Nanpay, for inviting me, I got a bag of Sour Patch Kids. Mainly to share the leftovers with our daughter, but I was so stressed out not from the movie, but because of the crinkliness of the packaging. I'm so aware, and I don't ever want to upset somebody.
Sure.
That every time I reached in, I was like, I had two thoughts. One, I hope it's not orange, and two, it's so crinkly.
You are definitely that way.
Yeah.
You think about other people.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good quality to have hard to eat movie theater snacks.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. It's true.
Well, I think I'm not a popcorn in the movie theater gal because I don't, maybe people will hate this. I don't like that fake weird butter they put on stuff. It tastes like it's burning my throat. It tastes like chemicals. Don't like it. We're lucky to have some good movie theaters here that use real butter, and you can put nutritional yeast on your popcorn. So I'm more like, if it's going to be a hippie popcorn, I'll totally eat it in a movie theater. But also, we have movie theaters that have wine, and so that's my favorite movie theater snack.
Oh, smart one.
Would be wine.
Good pick. Great pick, actually. And if I had to choose the candy, it'd be Sweet Tarts. That's me.
Yeah.
Junior Mints for you, I would guess.
Nah.
No? All right. I was wrong. Trash Uncle, at Trash Uncle on Twitter, says, what horror movie were you the most disappointed with after seeing it that was hyped up by others? It's a great question.
Oh, I know the answer to that.
It's probably the saddest you've ever saw me.
No, I don't know if it's the same.
Oh, okay.
If it's going to be the same movie. This is for me.
Okay, great.
It's the one where there was a floating goat at the end. Maybe it's
The
called
Witch.
The Witch. Yeah. That was the most disappointing movie for me.
You and I watching that movie. I mean, it was at a time where, and I get it, people love this movie.
People love the movie, and I still don't understand.
We did not understand anything anyone was saying. And the goat, I knew the stories about the goat being a total prick, so I kind of tried to enjoy it that way, but I did not like that movie.
Nah, that's the most, I think, disappointed.
That's great. That was very hyped.
Yeah.
I have two answers.
Okay.
And they're also more hyped by myself, I will say. And one of them is called Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, yeah, you were so excited about it.
I was so excited. I love Devil's Backbone. I knew nothing about Guillermo del Toro. I saw Devil's Backbone by myself in the theater in Seattle. I was blown away by it and waited for a new film. And we met in that time. And when Pan's Labyrinth came out, we went to the theater and watched it. And then we went across the street to Blackwell's, a bar, and I just sat at the bar going, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I don't even remember I thought the movie was totally fine. I was like, oh yeah, good. But I think you hyped yourself up so much for it that it could never be what you wanted it to be.
No.
And so you were sad.
The ghost element is so beautiful in Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth has 11 minutes of fantasy, and it's a war movie of people shooting each other in the face. And I was just like, this is not what it's supposed to be. The trailers were playing all the fantastical elements, so in my brain, I was getting that. It's no fault to the film. Yeah. It's completely my own brain. Yeah. The other one is Krampus, which we also saw in the theater. And it was because Trick or Treat is amazing. And then the fact that they were doing a Krampus movie, I was like, yes! But then we got CG gingerbread men, and the Krampus was a weird old goat man that somehow could run along buildings. I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And again, it was just my own making. I haven't revisited either film since the time in the theater, so I should probably give them a second try.
I would say we should try them again because you typically are stressed out in movie theater anyway.
Oh, yes.
So sometimes that can be part of it. Let's try again and see what happens.
I am a mess.
Love you anyway.
Thank you. Carmelita Valdez McCoy, who is Carmelita Says on Twitter, says, what are some of your favorite movie soundtracks and or scores?
Oh, I have quite a few.
Okay. I can't wait.
I mean, when you talk about soundtracks, it's when you get older, I feel like you stop buying soundtracks. So these are going to be soundtracks of my youth, right?
Yeah.
That's cool? Okay. So, The Crow
is
one of my all-time
That's my number one for soundtracks.
The Stealing Beauty soundtrack.
Okay, that's a personal choice.
90s film, if anybody hasn't seen it. Just listen to the soundtrack. Whatever.
Yeah, that'll set the table for you.
Those are definitely my top two.
Okay. I will piggyback on your Crow, which is a weird sentence to say, but...
You can piggyback on my Crow
Thank
anytime,
you.
man.
Getting warm in here. Any soundtrack that you have Nine Inch Nails covering Joy Division. You have The Cure put out a new song that's awesome. Machines of Loving Grace playing their best song they ever did.
I mean, I still listen to it.
It's unbelievable. It's so good. It's such a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I also have down, okay, for soundtracks, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. When that came out, my friend Daniel Wayne Peabody and I had a free period in high school, and we would just do the performances on tabletops with a projector as light, like a spotlight.
Love it. Can you do it again? I want to see you both do it again.
Oh
please.
My gosh, yeah, I totally can. I'll call him. He'd probably be down. Devil's Rejects. That movie was so my jam that I bought the soundtrack, and it's classic rock, and I don't like classic rock.
I was so shocked.
It blew me away.
That it really didn't fit in with anything that I knew about
Ever.
you. Not the movie I get. I get that you would like it. But when you bought the soundtrack and then you played it, and I was like, huh, this is...
Yeah.
This is not what I know you to listen to.
It's the power of a movie when it
is.
Yeah.
It just meant that you really connected to the spirit of the movie, which part of that is the music. Yeah. And it just really hit a chord for you.
It really fit. Trainspotting.
Oh, Trainspotting. Yeah. Yes, that I would say that is another one
Epic.
For me. For sure.
Super good. For scores, I'm not a score guy. I don't have a lot of soundtracks that are just the orchestral music or something.
Yeah, but what about Candyman and Edward Scissorhands?
Okay, those are great. You're right.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Okay, those three. And we do have Beetlejuice on vinyl.
We do.
Yeah. The last one that I had down for a soundtrack was Hideaway from 1995, and this is just a very me thing because here's the track listing.
Okay.
Sister Machine Gun, KMFDM, Fear Factory remixed by Frontline Assembly, Godflesh, and Die Warzal.
Did you just make me a mixtape?
Yes, I made you a mixtape of all of these because that's all in the movie. And me in the theater watching Jeremy Sisto and Jeff Goldblum and Alicia Silverstone with this soundtrack, I was like, is this just made for me?
Yeah, maybe it was.
I think it was. The Linzites, who is Read and Geek, another guest from this season, says she's got 3 questions for us.
Oh.
Number 1, favorite horror franchise. So you got your Halloweens, your Friday the 13th, your Night of the Living Dead. Does that count? Yeah, I guess it does. Hellraiser, whatever.
I don't know. I guess my first thing is always to say Candyman, because even now with the new one, that counts, right? It gets
sure.
put into
So
the package.
if you get into the universe, I think then,
Yeah, that's my universe.
That's a great answer. I put down Phantasm.
Yeah.
I love Phantasm.
You do.
I love the Phantasm franchise.
It's
I love
good.
those dudes.
Yeah.
Because Halloween, it's super crazy logic jumps, and there's a bunch of different storylines. Nightmare on Elm Street, he calls women bitch a lot, and so I love the fantasy elements, but there's just parts where I'm like, I just don't. That's not my thing. I don't go camping a lot, so Friday the 13th is kind of out.
You're like, not scary to me. I'll never be in a cabin in the woods.
Seriously. Okay, number 2, top 3 movies of the year. Is there 3 movies you saw this year that you were like, now that's a bit on the spot for you because I know that we watch a lot of stuff, but I'll just tell you my 3.
Okay.
Pig, it's my favorite Nick Cage movie we saw this year. Candyman, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And Swan Song, the Udo Kier one, where he's going to style the dead woman's hair.
Oh yeah, so good. Can I just choose yours?
Sure, absolutely. Let's go with those.
Well, I just don't know what else came out this year, but I would say Candyman for sure, Swan Song for sure. I mean, movies that I felt like joy, I had feeling, I cried a little in both. Those 2, I would say. Is Golden Arm this year?
Put in as
like
this
I
year's discovery.
This year.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I loved it. I felt like
so funny,
passionate joy that I needed in that time. So those would be my 3.
Yeah, and Golden Arm also has a couple scenes that there's a lot of laughs in that movie, but there's a couple scenes where it's like your eyes are tearing because you're laughing so hard.
Yeah, which is great. It's what I needed.
The arm injury scene when they're gagging.
Got me through a day. I live that every day.
It's so good. And then number 3 from Lindsay is, has there been an episode where you thought, I would like to do that job of this podcast?
I think this is for you.
Okay. Santa.
You would like to be
Santa. No. But for real, and if I'm imagining myself doing the job, I have the talent. Right?
So you already have the skill.
I have the skill to be good at it.
Okay.
And so it would be what Mark Sjostrom does as a special effects makeup artist. I think it's so crazy cool that you would be hired for jobs and they'd be like, I need you to make this Freddy baby, or, you know, and you just have to problem solve, and you have your tools and your kit, and you just make it happen. You just have to create it, and I think that's magic. That's movie magic.
Do I pick one?
Yeah.
I think long haul truck driver, female truck driver. I love driving. I love seeing new places. I love kind of road tripping. I know that's not exactly what they do, but I think that would be a cool gig.
Yeah, I agree. A great guest also.
Yeah, such a good guest. If you haven't listened to that episode, do it now.
Yeah. At the New World Pod says, what is the single must-watch movie this Halloween season?
I think we always watch Trick or Treat.
That's right where my brain went too. And then I thought, which I wrote down, directed by Michael Dougherty, this season. I thought about that. Because sometimes New World Podcast, they just did a great episode, favorite horror franchises, where it had to be everything in the franchise you're saying is your favorite. Because a lot of these, the later ones are...
Yeah, you're like, oh no, I have to claim that?
Yeah, and it was a really good stipulation. I highly recommend checking out their episode on that. So I was saying, of the new films, the new Candyman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you're going, like, of now.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think of now. I mean, the opening credit sequence, I love movies like that where you just sit back and I just instantly go, oh, we're in good hands. And this is going to be pretty beautiful. And it is. Like, I can't stop thinking about the visuals of the film. It says a lot. I think it ties so thoughtfully to the original source material. Yeah, I love that.
Same.
Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Instagram, we got Josh Spaceman, who is also a guest this season, from Solid 6 Podcast. Worst movie starring a robot. You don't watch a lot of science fiction.
I don't watch a lot of science fiction, but I mean, I've seen some robot movies.
Mm-hmm. What do you got? I'm so curious where you're going to go with this.
Worst robot movie.
Of the mainstream ones, my brain instantly went to Bicentennial Man, which is a movie where Robin Williams is a robot.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It is not my favorite thing to watch. It's supposed to be like a tearjerker, but it just him as the robot is like, it just doesn't work for me. But when I think about the absolute worst movie with a robot that I've seen, I would say Star Odyssey from 1979, which is one of the many, Star Wars is a thing, we'll make a Star Wars movie. But it's so boring. All the aliens are like just the weirdest facial makeup things you could do, and the robots are clearly just buckets with tubes hanging out of them. It's really bad.
Yeah, I can't think of one that I thought was bad necessarily. Was this a robot movie? It might have been an Alien, where there was like these things where there was sound. I think I remember you not liking it, but everybody had to be quiet, and there's like a car where the alarm goes off, the kid gets eaten, and I think it's a robot. Is it an alien?
Are you thinking of War of the Worlds?
No.
Are you thinking of A Quiet Place?
Yeah. Was that an alien?
Those were aliens. Where they had the baby with the tiny gas mask?
Yeah. Yeah. Aliens?
Yeah, that's right.
I guess I just don't know. Maybe I'm not bothered by a robot movie. There's not one I hate.
I mean, I would rather you just go with I don't watch a lot of science fiction than I love robots.
Is that what I'm saying?
I think so. You're kind of just like, I don't have a problem with any of them. Which is a good stance these days because maybe robots will hear this.
I'm not a hater. I don't pick something where I'm like, oh, this is the more, I mean, unless it's like violent towards women, that's the only time I really make that stance. If it's a robot, I'm like, nah, it's a robot. It's not my thing.
Okay, that's fair. Best movie starring a dog. Maybe you'll be better for this question.
Oh, any movie. It doesn't have to be a horror movie. Because we're talking October. Best movie with a dog. Cujo, I thought, as a child.
Nice. I like how you're like, not a horror movie? Cujo. A movie about a killer dog.
Yo, I thought it was terrifying. I mean, I always have had a bit of a fear of dogs. And so that was a really good horror movie for me to see. Because I was like, I'm already scared. I live this life anyway. If a dog barks when I'm in a car, I don't get out of the car.
No.
I was in the Zupan's parking lot today, and the car next to me had a dog with its head out of the window, and I went out the passenger side of my car.
That's smart.
Because it was like, that dog could bite my face. It's 2 inches away.
They're probably buying dog food for it. It's very hungry.
I think the dog had like a handkerchief around its neck. Like, I think it was like a sweet dog.
It didn't do that itself.
I'm not taking my chances.
All right. Well, that's fair.
So, yeah, Cujo. Good one.
That is
I also really liked Turner and Hooch.
Oh.
As a kid, I liked it.
Well, I recommend trying it again because I was on a podcast recently talking about that movie.
I know.
It's not as fun as you remember.
I remember it being fun.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not a dog person per se, so I would go with Deadly Eyes, which is actually a killer rat movie, but they couldn't get killer rats big enough, so they just put carpets on the backs of dogs.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So it's a loophole, but...
It makes you laugh every time you watch it.
It really does. I really do love it. I get a lot of joy out of it. But if I had to choose one with a dog, I would go with The Beyond. Oh my gosh, we watched The Beyond, and we didn't even put it in our movies. I should have had that in the list. That's the movie with the lady that has the milky eyes, and she has the dog, and you told me I'm just not an Italian horror fan. We watched The Beyond, and I didn't even put it on there.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, late edition. We saw The Beyond. You weren't a fan.
That's the recap.
There you go. But she does have a dog, and that's where we're at right now, and that's my dog movie.
You like that one?
That's my favorite Fulci, yeah.
Fave Fulch.
Fave Fulch. It just rolls off the tongue. Perfect. Well, that's our recap of where we're at right now.
That's where we are.
We got 2 weeks.
Are we halfway through? We're halfway through.
We have 2 weeks until Halloween.
Great.
You have 2 more farmers markets.
I can do it.
You can make it.
Mm-hmm.
We're both in a magazine that comes out next month.
Yeah, you can pre-order it now.
You can pre-order it now. Kitchen Table Magazine.
Dirk's first print.
I am a published writer guy.
You're so cool, man.
Ah, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
You've already been published. You wrote a book, Preservation Pantry, but now you're in this magazine as well. So congratulations to you.
Thanks. I love our community.
Yeah.
And people are doing cool stuff. So anytime they are, they're putting out, this local magazine talking about all of our buddies. Like, we have so many friends in the magazine. So I'm grateful to be part of it and that you're in there too. It's cool.
Yeah, I talk about food and horror movies. If anyone wants to read about that, it's in there. Wonderful art. It's an honor to be in Kitchen Table Magazine. And it's an honor to have you listen to this episode. And we'll be doing another recap at the end of October, talking about the latter films that we'll be watching this season. So tune in then. Thank you for being here, Sarah Marshall.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, I'm Dirk Marshall, and this has been VHS Presents a bonus episode.
BOOnus!